NBC has projected Bruce Rauner, the challenger, has defeated Pat Quinn, the incumbent governor of Illinois. Unbelievable. This is amazing.
A very dispirited Chris Matthews. Unbelievable. James Taranto, columnist for the Wall Street Journal and editor of its online editorial page, opinionjournal.com, joins us. Hey, James.
Hey, good to be here.
That was part of the Republican wave, and the title of your column, "There Was No Republican Wave," of course, was a quote and a mockery, because of course there was a Republican wave, but you know, the media before and even after would have you believe that first that they couldn't win and have a landslide, and now that they've had one, they'd have you believe that this is all about telling the Republicans to compromise with Obama.
Well, we should say that headline comes from a report in The Guardian, a British paper, by a guy named Gary Young. I think that the American media have generally been a bit more realistic about the outcome, although there is a lot of confusion about just what this is supposed to mean. I mean, we're told that voters hate Republicans, so it's not an endorsement of the Republican agenda. But we're also told it's not a repudiation of Barack Obama. So it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly what it's supposed to mean. Apparently, it's not supposed to mean anything that you might expect.
Yeah, and we could expect that from the media, I would imagine. But you give some great examples in here. You know, first of all, what they were talking about before the actual results, and then, of course, what they've been saying since the results are in. But, you know, they had this... this was impossible. What was done, according to many liberal pundits in the media, was just impossible and could never have happened, even though it happened.
Yeah, and then of course they're ready with the after the fact rationalizations that you know, it's just because the electorate in a midterm election is different, and Democrats, Republicans, you know, capitalize on fear and so forth.
Right, and the electorate is angry. The electorate is angry.
Right, and it's supposed to be a sort of undirected anger. Of course, in 2008, the electorate was angry. In 2006, was angry at George W. Bush and the Republicans. Now the anger is supposed to be just as sort of an inchoate rage that has no particular direction, even though somehow it was almost all Democrats who lost and Republicans who won.
Yeah, and here's what I fear, though, James, going forward. You know, the Republican strategists, in my view, especially those who run the presidential campaigns, they never get it. They would be, if I saw them on TV, you know, talking, I'd call them rhinos, and they don't understand it, and they bow to this kind of pressure. And even though a guy like Boehner now is talking tough, and interestingly enough, McConnell really isn't. McConnell said, we're not going to repeal Obamacare. Boehner said, we will. I just don't trust them to follow through.
Well, on Obamacare, I think McConnell is right just as a purely analytical matter. I don't think that the Republicans are going to change the filibuster rules, which means that the Democrats could still filibuster any total repeal. And even if the Democrats don't, Obama still has the veto and would surely veto anything until the next, you know, for the next 2 years. But I do think they'll manage to pare back some of the more objectionable aspects of Obamacare.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. How do you think Hillary, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, not as many people say, but some have said that Hillary was a big winner. Most have said that Hillary was a big loser because of how the Democrats fared, and that she supported one losing candidate after the next, the ones that she went to campaign for, her and her husband.
Well, I don't think that the way to judge Mrs. Clinton's prospects in 2016 is based on how the candidates she supported did. I mean, Obama didn't do very well for the candidates he supported in 2010, and he won in 2012, albeit with an assist from the IRS. But I don't think that's really the question. Bots.com had a funny piece the other day saying 9 takeaways from the election, and most of them were really obvious. Like 1, the Democrats lost, and then 2 was there were a few bright spots for the Democrats. But 5 was interesting. 5 was Hillary Clinton is the big winner. And the argument that Hillary Clinton is the big winner is that the Democrats did so badly that there are few remaining possible challenges to her for the Democratic nomination. Yeah. And I think there's some truth to that. Hillary was the big winner here in the same way that John McCain was the big winner in 2006, because it meant that the Republicans had a very depleted field
Right.
in 2008. McCain did indeed get the nomination, but you remember what happened?
Well, maybe we could have a repeat on the other side. James, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
James Taranto, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away.